Okay, so talk the Mishnah, yeah? That's what. No, I'm sorry, we didn't get to the Mishnah. We got to the bottom of Chaf Ches Amud Beis. Yeah. So basically, we said the whole Amud here is. So the Mishnah said that this when is somebody that's going to guarantee that he's going to be dead? Like, we're not guaranteed. There's a chazaka that he's going to be dead, right? If he's going to a bezdin, that they're gonna make him up. They mechayev him death, right? So anyway, so the Gemara went through it. Well, does that apply to a Yiddish bezdin? Does it apply to a or a Goyish bezdin? So the Gemara had said yesterday, the second half of yesterday's daf, is that that a Goyish bezdin, there's no hope. So you're going to assume the guy died. By Yiddish bezdin, they're always looking for schusim. Then the Gemara had now the Gemara says the opposite. Ikad Amri, bottom line on Chaf Ches Amud Beis. Ikad Amri, Amar Rav Yosef, Lo shanu elo bezdin shalav dikachavim. This, that when somebody's being taken out to be killed, right, is because by a goyish bezdin. Therefore, they could be bribed. On to Amud Aleph now. Our bezdin shel Yisrael, kivan denafik leidina lekatla katla. But a bezdin, a Yiddish bezdin, since they decided that he's usher, so then he's usher. Yeah. Meaning not usher, meaning that he's killed, then he's going to be killed. Meaning there's mamish the direct opposite of yesterday. Yesterday's Gemara is that by a guy, there's no hope, and by a Yid there's hope. Here we're saying by a guy there's hope because you could always bribe them, and by a Yid there's no hope. So now the Gemara is going to say the same shak v'tay, but obviously backwards. Bezdin Sheyisol also, it's possible that he's going to see, he's going to have a schus, right? Where Bezdin's always looking for schus. And Kisuti Chazile schusa. When did they see a schus? Mekami de ligmardina, before he got to a gemar din. Also gemar dina, but what is a gemar din? Meaning once Bezdin paskins misa for him, Sulai Chazile schusa, then he no longer has a schus.
So Yaakov, is there a fundamental machlokes in these two ways of Yosef's understanding how Bezdin looks for schusim? If one is before Gemar
Din, whether they do it after sounds like
Gemar Din or not?
Yeah, sounds like according to this, yeah, you're right. After Gemar Din, they don't look for schusim anymore.
According to this sheet, according to the previous sheet, it's smash the other.
According to the Gadamri, right?
So when would they stop? According to the other sheet, like there'd be no point up until they chop his head off or whatever that they wouldn't be looking for schusim.
So look, you see the top Tosfos. The top Tosfos brings a kasha from Sanhedrin. Right, there was a guy riding on the sus, and he had a sudar in his hand, and they found a schus. Right, they found the schus for him, whatever the story, right? Because the horse was running after. I don't remember exact the case. I don't even know if I ever saw the case, but whatever it is, that's what I was asking. He says, "It's not shliach." I mean, it sounds like if they found the schus, they would take it. It's just not common. Meaning, once you've exhausted all your possibilities, once you've exhausted all your possibilities, so then you're out, right? That's all. So anyway, but it meaning it is a according to Tosfos at least, there is a possibility of this guy getting a schus. So we're not gonna mean it's a Yiddish court. We're not going to say that they go, oh, it's too late, the door's closed. We're not giving you a schus. I'd rather we're going to give you a schus. But it's not common. It's not common. Okay, so let me say, when two people stand up and say, right, that the din was the nigmar dinai on beis dina shaplani, plani edav, and plani other edim, he gets killed. Right? So you see that a guy could say edus, that somebody got killed, and they could end up being Eidim Zaymimin, but they said Eidos that somebody was supposed to get killed, so they killed him. So the Gemara answers, right? Meaning, and this is a raya, this is a raya to Rabbi Yosef, that we say that whenever the Yid says that he's whenever a yid sees that there's a gemar din, so that's it. So the Gemara answers, Duma Bereich Shani. No, that's different because maybe because he ran away, it's a little different. Since he ran away, right? So B'meila, we're not gonna. Why would he run away if he had schusim? Right? What are you running away for if you have schusim? So therefore, it's not a riot. So basically, the same shakvatar as yesterday. Just this. Yesterday was all kashas. Here it's all rayas. Tashma, Shama Bezin Shal Yisrael Shal Yoimrim. They heard from Bezin Yisrael that said Ish Pleni Mace, Ish Pleni Nereg. One person, Ish Pleni died, and Ish Pleni's Nereg. Yasiu es Ishtoi. Right? He can marry. He can marry his wife. But again, I have such a hard time pronouncing that next word, right? Mikumman trisim shalav digachavim. But if he heard that the guy was killed from this Goyish court, right, or the people that execute Ish Pleni Mace, Ish Pleni Nerag, and they heard the guy say it that he died or was killed, Al Yasiu, you can't marry his wife. His wife cannot get married because we don't trust the guy. My mace, my nerag. What does it mean mace, and what does it mean nerag? Mace mamish. If it means he actually died, but nerag mamish. The kavasei you have to say by other same thing. Amai al yasiu asishte. Why can't you marry his wife? Anybody who's masiach lefitumai, we trust him, right? And this guy was masiach lefitumai, right? He's saying it innocently. He's not saying it at halacha. Elalav. What must it be? Mace yaitzalamus. Right, the mace went out to die. He didn't actually die. He went out to die. But nerag yatzilarag, and a nerag means he went out to get killed. If it's a bezin of Yisrael, then he marries his wife. Meaning you could marry. You don't have to marry his wife. The wife could get married, right? So you see that when somebody when a Jewish court sentences somebody to death, you see that you assume that he died. So Lo'ilam, the Gemara says, no, so Lo'ilam Mace Mamish. It means really he died Mamish, but Nerag Mamish, and he got killed Mamish. The same thing by the Gavi Chavam. Amai Loi. So why isn't it believed? Anybody who's Masiach Lefitumai, we believe him. They say, Hani, we believe him, Milsa Delay Shaichiba. But that, when do we say Masiach Lefitumai, we believe him? That's if it's something that has nothing to do with the guy. Milsa de Shaichiba, but something that the guy has shaykhs to, Abdi Lachzuki Shekrayu, they're going to lie in order to strengthen their lie. Meaning he's an executioner. He wants to brag to everybody that he killed a yid. So even though he doesn't know the halachic ramifications of what he's saying, so therefore he should be trusted. Meaning we don't trust the guy. We don't trust the guy when he's saying something that has halachic ramifications and he knows about it, because we just don't trust him because he doesn't keep halacha. But when he says it innocently, we trust him. But here, when he's gonna try and brag how many people he killed, so there we are not going to. Therefore, there we're not going to trust him.
A guy has no monis at all, even if it's Masiach Lefitumai. I mean, he could be a chakran. Could be a chakran.
No, Masiach, we do, but it's complicated, right? But we do trust the guy. We do trust the guy that he's if he's Masiach Lefitumai. Meaning, like when you have to ask a guy if this tarfus in the, what do you call it? If this tarfus, something, milchix drops into fleishiks. So we can't taste it because what happens if it's trape? So you get a guy to taste it, right? So there you get a professional guy to taste it, meaning a professional cook, but he, you can't tell him that there's anything halachic, right? You can't tell him that there's anything halachic on it, right? Because if you do, then he's not trusted, because he may say, these guys, these yidden, they, you know what? Who cares that there's a little taste of meat, right? And he knows what you want to hear, right? So since he knows what you want to hear, so then you have a problem, right?
So basically, putting that together with our Gemara, anytime the guy has reason to lie, she's lying. If he has no reason to lie, then it works.
Correct. He has no monus if he has no reason to lie. I'm saying he could be a shotgun either way.
No, that's true. But if he has nothing, if he has no reason to lie, then we will trust him as long as he doesn't know what's going on. As long as he doesn't understand the halachic ramifications. I just posted on the Daf chat this whole issue that's going on with Hershey's. I don't know why my screen. Can you see me? Can you see and hear me? You can see me? I don't know what's going on my screen. Anyways, I don't know if you want to see me, but I'm just saying. Anyways, this guy just posted on the chat. Hershey's claims that Reese's Pieces has no dairy. For those of us that are makbid on Chol Yisrael, they wrote a letter out. I just posted it. They wrote a letter that there's no dairy in it. Now the OU scream and yell that there's dairy in it. They don't even say dairy equivalent. They say there's actual dairy in it. Now, well, I mean, what are the chances of Hershey's lying in a letter like that? Right? They're not saying it out Chol Yisrael. They could care less. They're talking about it for the vegans, for the vegan mishagoyim, right? Who don't want to have anything having to do with animals. Right? So the question is, you trust them, you not trust them. OU is clearly not trusting them on this. They're not. So whatever. That's an interesting application of it.
I like the
why
fact
are
the
they not
name is Harry too.
But Tiago, don't they have what is the reasons they would or wouldn't trust them?
They say they don't. The OU said they can't say because everything's proprietary and they don't want lawsuits. They don't want to be sharing information. So the OU is very, very.
So how do they know they don't put in other stuff that might make it, non-kosher? Meaning,
no, they know because they know what they put in.
No?
I don't know. They know what they put in, and listen. You have the secret formula of Coke too. They know that they don't change the recipes too often. Whatever. And a chanami, Akiva.
No,
the
that's what I'm
stuff
saying.
that
Like,
we eat is
there's
shvach.
obviously a level of trust that's going on here. No.
Yeah. There is, of course. But yeah.
Don't we always say if you get it in letters? We had this with doctors and other situations.
Yeah.
Once you get it in writing, and you're dealing with allergies,
Right.
people
Yes.
who could
I don't
potentially
know.
die.
You're 100% right. I'm not sure why the OU is taking such a hard stance. I know they're revisiting it, and they're constantly revisiting it. I've been in touch with the OU guy for a while about this. I mean, what should I tell you? If guys tell me that they're eating Reese's Pieces, this is not the peanut butter cups. They're like
That's what I'm saying. Tiago,
it's
not a big win.
Candy.
It's not a big win. It's not even close to the peanut butter cups.
It's not a big win. Correct. It's not, but they have a new one now. The OU guy told me they have a new one now that is OU no D peanut butter cups for the vegan crazy people. But it's not. They're just starting to roll it out
You
now.
can't find the stuff, Tiago. You cannot find the stuff in stores. It's like second market already.
What are they selling it on eBay?
Yeah, selling on eBay. Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm sure they. I mean, if the pipeline puts enough pressure, I'm sure they'll. What do you call it? They'll get into it. They'll sell it. Okay, whatever it is. But that's your classic case. And of course, the medications on Pesach. How do you think all the books? They don't ask the company if they don't ask the company if there's chametz in it, then they're not trusted. They have to tell the company that they have a wheat allergy, right? And therefore they're believed on. But okay. Anyways. That's Mashiach Lefituma. And also you have with Dr. Corman's on. You have that with doctors a lot also. You need to, can you trust the doctor when he has to give up psak din? Right? Meaning never, we should know from it, but if a baby has all sorts of issues in utero and the doctors are saying this baby's not going to live, you just terminate it, all this stuff. You believe the doctor, you don't believe the doctor, right? So, whatever it is, fine. So Zog the Mishnah. Maybe get, now we still continue with the shlichus. Maybe get by Eretz Yisrael. If a guy brings a get inside Eretz Yisrael. Now the reason why Dafka in Eretz Yisrael, we'll see on Amud is that there's a difference in Chutz La'aretz, because in Chutz La'aretz you have to say, from Chutz La'aretz you have to say, B'fanei nefta, B'fanei nechtam. Right? But in Eretz Yisrael, you don't have to. So if a guy's supposed to bring a get Eretz Yisrael, and he got sick. So what does the shliach do? He gets sick. He's got this get. What's he doing with this get? So hareza mashalcha b'yadacher, he gives it to somebody else, right? So meaning a shliach can make another shliach. Yeah, and the reason is funay nechtam. In Beis, we're going to see that if you have to say funay nechtam, then you can't just give it to a shliach. How can you give it over to a shliach? You tell the shliach it was the funay nechtam, and then what is he going to say? The funay nechtam, you can't say it. He didn't see it, right? Okay, so maybe there's a b'chala reza mishalcha b'yadacher. Bim amar loy, and if he said to him, Toli hemeno chayvetz pliny. And he says, I want you to bring the get, but I want you to take something back from my wife. Right? So I mean, obviously the husband was holding after something from his wife before he gives her a get. Then then the shliach cannot make another shliach. Why not? He doesn't want his pikadon to be in somebody else's hands. Meaning he wants to give responsibility to the guy he made a shliach, and that's it. Yeah. Fine. So that's the Mishna is saying that if a guy gets sick within Eretz Yisrael, he can make a shliach. So Amar of Kahana, meaning another shliach. Amar of Kahana cholotanan. It says that he got sick, right? Mashma, that if he didn't get sick, right? Let's say he's going to deliver the get, and the guy says, "Hey, we're going to the ball game. Why don't you come to the ball game with us?" He says, "I got to find somebody else to take my get." Okay, so give it to somebody else and let him deliver the get, right? So that doesn't work. It only if he gets sick. So the Gemara says, Pshita, chala katani. It says chala. He only got sick. What are you saying? Of course, it's only because he was sick. So the same who din afagav the loichal. You might think that the same din, even though he did not get sick. Hi the katani chala archa the milsa katani. And the reason why he said chala is because it's telling you the derech eretz, meaning the regular way. Normally, why would a guy not be a shliach? Is because he's sick. Why otherwise? Why wouldn't he do it? So Kamash Malon, it's telling you that it doesn't make a difference. I mean, it's either he's sick, he's not sick, doesn't make a difference, right? Fine. Say, Echidami, what's the case? What's the case? The Gemara is going to go through a bunch of scenarios. What is the case where the guy is sick? He can make another shliach. So if he says bring the get, right? Meaning he didn't say a lashon of you. He said bring the get. Yeah. So then afagav the loichalanami. He just says get the get over there. I don't care how you do it. Get the get there. Fine. And if he says you go, afilu chalanami, he says you have to go. Then even if you get sick, it doesn't work. And if it's Rav Shimon Gamliel, afilu chalanami. And according to Rav Shimon Gamliel, nobody could ever make one shliach with another shliach. How do we know this? The Tanya Hailach gets eli ishti. The guy says, "Bring this get to my wife." He's allowed to send it with somebody else because he just said, "Get this get to my wife." He didn't say you. Hailach gets eli ishti. If he says you take this get to my wife, you don't send it to somebody else. Shimon Gamliel says, whichever one it is, right? The shliach can't make a shliach. So you see that from this Mishnah that there's a difference from the Brisa, there's a difference whether the guy is what lashon he said according to the Tanakama. If he said you, then the guy has to bring it regardless, even if he's sick. And if he says just bring it, then anybody can bring it. And Rosh Hashanah never allows the shliach to do another shliach. So what exactly is the case of our Mishnah? Right? Again, our Mishnah just says that he could make a shliach. So Gemara answers, some say he says hailach, v'hu dechala. Right? Meaning the Mishnah said, take the get to the wife. And the Brisa is only saying it when he dies. Right? Not when he dies, when he gets sick. So basically what it means is that there's no stira between the Mishnah and the Brisa. If a guy just says, take the get to my wife, they both are in agreement that if the get is, anybody can bring it. Right? So it's only when he says you, that's when you have a problem. Another way to say pshat is when he says you bring it, right? And then he got sick. And chayla is different, right? Meaning when a guy is sick, according to this teretz, according to the Mishnah and the Brisa, when the shliach gets sick, they both hold that you're allowed to give the get to another shliach. But if he's not sick, then you can't. By saying a third shot, Rav Shimon Gamliel Shani. It's Rav Shimon Gamliel. Rav Shimon Gamliel says that a chayla is different than a regular shliach. So basically, you have three options. The art school has a chart. Charts make me nervous, but I didn't look at the chart. But I saw the art school has a chart of exactly the three different shittas. Okay, Tanan. So we learned in the Mishnah. Maybe. What?
No,
Okay,
I mean,
so
it's all confused. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a lot confusing.
No, I know. I'm just curious, like, what's the difference? If you hold it, you're able to make another shliach. Why would you need it to be chala? I just don't understand. Like, if you're able to, you're able to. Who cares? What would be the svara that you can't? Is because the Baal is like, if you hold according to the Tanna Kama that you're able to make another shliach, clearly it's not about the Baal is not makbid. So then why would it matter whether chala shani? According to the first, I guess the Gemara's first teretz.
That was the kasha of the Gemara.
No, I know the Gemara's teretz is Yibay's name of Haylech according to Tanna Kama, and V'hu Chala, but you still need it to be that it's Chala even in the first shita, no? Even according to Tanna Kama.
No, V'hu Chala is going on the Brisa, not our Mishnah. The pashness of the Brisa is that there's no Chala involved. That's why you have a kasha onto the Mishnah. The answer is that chala is involved in the brisa, so it's exactly the same as our Mishnah. You need haylech and chala in order for a shliach to make a shliach.
Why would you need haylech and chala if it's a Tanna Kama?
That's what he's saying in the Tanna Kama and the brisa. That is what the Tanna Kama is saying. Haylech alone is not enough to make for a shliach to make a shliach. You need chala. It's confusing because the first answer and the third answer are referring to our Mishnah. The second one's changing pshat in the Bryce.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So weiter. Tnan. So we learned in the Mishnah. Right. Maybe get Eretz Yisrael b'chol. If he brings a get within Eretz Yisrael and he got sick, he can send it with somebody else. Or Rabbeinu Eskio Stira, Omar l'shnayim. If he said two people. Tnu get leishti, give a get to my wife. Or give it to three people. Kasvu get utnu leishti. He said, write a get to give it to my wife. They write the get and they give it. Yes.
Shleisha is giving it to three or saying to three.
I said give to three. No, I'm sorry. No, it means no. He said to three. That's bucha from the next line, right? Yes. Thank you. Right again. He said to two guys, give this get to my wife. Or he said to three guys, write a get and give it to my wife. Then what do? They give it, they have to write it and they give it. They, meaning they have to do it by themselves. They can't do it to a shliach. Right? So it's a stira. Can you give it over to a shliach or can you not? Some rabbi, sometime amai, mishum, bizayin, the Baal. It's a bizayin to the Baal. Right? He's embarrassed that he doesn't know how to write a get. So therefore he only wants the guys that he's not embarrassed from, the shluchim, that he asked to do it, to take care of it. He doesn't mind being embarrassed from them, but he doesn't want to tell anybody else. Hacha, Baal like it. Here, the Baal is not makbid. So therefore he doesn't care. All right? Because all it is not writing the get. It's giving the get. What's the big deal to give a get? Right? Which what does it say for our door? This guy's embarrassed that he doesn't know how to write a get. Okay, who knows how to write a get? Right? We don't even have anybody locally to do Gittin in Far Rockaway 5 towns. Right? Everybody's got to go to Brooklyn or Queens to get a get. Whatever. Anyways. So, but that's the Gemara's chiluk.
You muted on
Aaron, yeah.
That's because everybody's happily married by us. So there's nobody knows how to get. It's not a ganai. Not a ganai.
You mean there's not enough business? You're saying?
That's right. No.
I feel like
if you ask,
I feel like he has too much to say right now.
I didn't speak to any rabbanim about that.
Well, you know what we got to do is ask Rabbi Greenblatt. So what they do is they get divorced someplace else and they move to town. Just ask him about it. Just ask him. Right? So whatever it is. Okay, fine.
He's
So
like
Amar
David,
Abaye.
he's
We
trying,
just
he
said that.
tries
Okay,
to
so
help people.
that's true. Yep. He helps people. Yeah. Anyways, so so Abaye says that's Abaye's teretz. Rav Amar Mishum Demili Ninu. This is one of Gershon's favorites in Gittin. It's words. Umili lemimser l'shliach. Right? Mili, you can't give over mili. Meaning, what did he do? When you give a get, the guy gives, in the first case of our Mishnah, he gave him an actual physical, tangible get. He said, take this get. Okay, I can't do it. I'll give it to somebody else to bring it. Who cares? You got to make sure the get goes with. But here, in the other case, but a brisa, he told him to do something. That's mili, that's words. That he told him to do something. So he said, you got to do it. He didn't give him something physical. He told him to take care of something. So you can't go now tell somebody else to take care of something, at least according to this opinion. Mili, it doesn't, words can't be given over. Right? Fine. So my beinayu, what's the difference? Ike beinayu, shliach, matana. The difference between them is the shliach for a matana. Right? So according to Abaya, if it's a shliach for matana, so why not? There's no busha. There's no busha there. You're going to give him a tana. But according to Rava, if you ask the guy to take care of a matana for you, so then he has to take care of it. It's mili. Fine. But plug to the Rav Shmuel. They're disagreeing with the Machlokes Rav Shmuel. Rav Amar matana ain't a kaget. A matana is not like a get. Shmuel Amar matana harei hu kaget. A matana is like a get. Right. So Abaya goes with Rav, and Rava goes with Shmuel. Right? Okay, fine, fine. Right? So if he tells the shliach, don't give the get, well, we're going to see in the Gemara how he wants this done. But seemingly what the Gemara is saying is that he said to her, he said to the shliach, give her the money, not money, give her the get and take something back from her. So that we said you can't give over to another shliach. So Amar Shalkash can't shun a Rebbe. What Rebbe, when he means Rebbe, because Rebbe wrote the mishnayos, Ein hashoyel reshoy lahashel, a person is not allowed to lend something to somebody. Ein hasaycher reshoy lahashel, and a renter is not allowed to rent something to somebody that he wasn't, because he doesn't have permission. He doesn't have permission to lend something that was lent to him or to rent something that was given to him, to rent it to him. Meaning, because here too, the husband says to the shliach, I trust you to bring back this object, whatever it is that he wanted from his wife. I don't trust anybody else. Right? A very strong lashon. He says, what's your chiddush? Even kids know that. Right? Somebody lends you something, you don't go lend it to somebody else. Right? So, Ella, Zimnin, the Gittin Nami, Loihavi. Now, what he's saying is that there's possibility that the get won't be a get either. Meaning, it sounds like from the Mishnah, the reason why the shliach can't make another guy a shliach is because he doesn't want the object to come back in somebody else's hands. His mashma, the get is a get. Now, Rabbi Yochanan is saying, no, it could be that the get is not a get. Right? Why? The nasa kamisha amarloi, because we make it al tegarsha ela babayis. It's like if somebody says, don't divorce my wife, meaning don't give her the get, unless you're in the house. Girsha ba'aliyah, he divorces her in the attic, meaning she says, I'm not coming downstairs. He says, okay, I'll bring you to get upstairs. No good, because the husband said, give her to get downstairs. Al tegarsha ela b'yim, and he says, don't divorce her only with your right hand. Girsha, the small, and she is divorced, and he divorced her with the left hand, right? The kuleyama hechad the nafka laape, right? 1 second. So no, it's saying in that case, that case is no good, right? I just have to stop for a second because there's a whole diyun by kedushin. There's a whole diyun. If the kala is a righty or a lefty, she should stick out her right hand or left hand. So I came out, I looked at Pazmi, she always put the right hand, but I know other Masad should do left hand. Of course, this kala says she's a lefty. So, okay, all right. I didn't chavetz right now. Okay, she's a left hand, right hand. I said use the right hand. I hope I was right. I mean, it's not ma'akiv, but I'm saying that's so here it's ma'akiv. If the chassan would say, I want her to use her right hand, she has to use her right hand. right? If you want the shliach to give the get with the right hand, you got to do the right hand, right? So what does that have to do with this case? So the kuli amma. So then, in other cases, right? In all cases, where the woman came to the shliach, right? Meaning to the second shliach. Again, the scenario we have here is the first shliach is bringing the get, and he's supposed to bring this item back from the wife, right? And now this guy handed it over to a second guy. So now, if the woman comes out first, and she first gives him the object, and then she takes the get. The get is a good get because the main thing is that the husband wants to make sure he got his item, right? And he got it, and they gave the divorce. But the Machlokes is where they say on Amud Beis now. The husband said, take it from her first, and then take the get. Right? Give the get, meaning he was really worried that she's going to take the get and run without giving the item. So he said, take the chayfetz first, then give the get. And he went, and he gave her a get, and then he took the chayfetz. So in that case, that's a machlokes. Rabbi Yochanan paisel, but Rabbi Yochanan says it's puzzle because he didn't do it with the directions that the husband said to do. Same thing with the first floor, second floor, right hand, left hand. But kol shekain b'shluchai, right? And for sure, if the shliach didn't do it correctly, but a shliach is going to say the shliach is okay. Because came by an avada, if the original shliach did this, right, then it's going to be okay. Meaning, Rishon is just saying, meaning, is it ma'akiv that the husband said, take the item first and then give the thing? Then give the get. Was he doing it because he was afraid she'd run or not? Shaka says it's lav dafka. He didn't mean that. Therefore, the get is a kosher get. And Rabbi Yochanan holds no, he meant it dafka. So therefore, whether the first shliach, second shliach, whoever did it is out. He didn't do the shlichus in the proper way. Okay, fine. Now, so that was a shliach in Eretz Yisrael. Now we're up to shliach in from Chutz La'aretz. Yeah. Oh, turn on a light over here. Okay. So Hamzok the Mishna. Maybe get from Medina Sayyam. A guy brings a get from Medina Sayyam, B'chola, and he got sick. Now this is from Medina Sayyam. So now what he has to do is Oisa Shliach beBezdin. He has to make a shliach in Bezdin, Mashalchai, and then Bezdin sends him. All right. Meaning, I don't know how he's getting to Bezdin if he's sick. Maybe they bring a Bezdin to him. And why is it? So why does he have to do it this way? Why is it different than before? And he says in front of the Bezdin, right? And that's it. So therefore, now he proved to Bezdin that the get was a legitimate get. Then it can go out to another shliach. There's no point in the second guy. I don't know if there's no point, but the second guy doesn't have to say shliach bezdin ani. He says, I'm a shliach bezdin.
Yaakov, right? He has an amanis or something. His amanis is it, meaning he's sort of like creating a kiyum by saying, like, does he have to, like, is there a kiyumai on the shtar itself? Because it's a special din that you're able to mekayim the shtar fananachta. Correct?
Yeah.
So
what do you,
the second person's not really doing that. So is he?
Doesn't have to. It's done. It's done.
I know. So what is he saying? What is he saying already? That it's done. He's believed to say it's done.
He doesn't have to say anything.
He said that it's a legitimate bezdin.
Is he doing any kiyumai over here? Is he doing any edus over here? The second shliach.
Is he doing any edus? I don't. I mean, it depends if you say b'fan another is edus or not.
Well, he's not doing b'fan another. The second, I'm talking about the second shliach.
Second guy.
Is he giving any edus over here when he says?
I don't think so. No, that edus is done. I think. Right. See, that's a lashon. There, that's a lashon. He says, "Ve'ein shliach achron tzarich sheyomer." What do you mean tzarich sheyomer? He can't say it, How could he say it? He wasn't there.
Right, but I'm
Right.
saying, but he
Mashma,
does
he
say
has the
Allah
option.
Omer. What does it mean he's saying? Who cares what he's saying? He has a stempel from Bezdin that says it was already said before. That's what he's showing. Who cares what he says?
Right.
Is he giving some type of edus here?
No, I don't think so. That's exactly what the Mishnah is saying. Right? That's the way Rashi says it. Elohim shliach Bezdin. He says, "Mistama Bezdin also adavar be'achsheira." He says, "I'm just a shliach. I'm assuming Bezdin did it legit." Right? That's what he's saying.
So I'm saying there is something is coming about through Zaydis. By saying you're coming from Bezdin, do you actually have to show proof that you're coming from Bezdin? So because really what he's doing is like almost like a workaround.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a workaround, but
my point is that Betzim, you never have to say, but you could always not have to say front after. All you need to do is say, "Oh, I came from a Betzim," and then you're believed.
Oh, you're saying also that? I mean, how does he prove that he was legit? I imagine you could go to Bezdin and ask them. No,
I don't know. Maybe it creates a call. I don't know. Maybe that's the word. But when you say I'm a shliach of Bezdin, you're creating this idea that and you mistama you have to find it after. So you created in some way you created the after by saying I'm a shliach of Bezdin.
Yeah. Okay. I hear. I don't know. I didn't think about that. Okay, so let's see the Gemara. So Amr Rabbanan Lavimi Berei Ravo. So Rabbanan said to Rabbi Ravo, Bami name Rabbi Avo. Ask Rabbi Avo a question. Shliach the shliach, mashri shliach oiloi. Say that 10 times. Shliach the shliach, right? Meaning the second shliach, the guy that's a shliach Bezdin. Can he make a shliach now or not? Right? So Amr Lahu, he said, you don't have to ask this question. It says the last shliach, Michlal, the Mashri shliach. That means that there could be others. Meaning, otherwise, why does it say the Lashon in the Mishnah, the last shliach? Why didn't it say the second shliach? Right? So Elamai, you can make as many shliachim as you want. Elakiti Bailahu, what the shaila you should ask is Ki Mashri shliach bebezdin or yafilu shalai bebezdin. When he wants to make the shliach, does he have to make it in Bezdin, or he can even make it not in Bezdin? Meaning, does he need to do this in the Bezdin? That's not a question to us. When he says I'm a shliach Bezdin, right? So that means that it has to be in Bezdin, right? I'm not sure why that means that it has to be in Bezdin. I don't know if I understand that, but he's saying. He says if he says I'm a shliach Bezdin, that means that the shlichus has to be done in Bezdin. Okay. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Masni Hochi. Rav Nachman Yitzchak says this. Amru le Rabbanan Lavimi Berei Ravo. Rabbanan Ravimi said to Ravo, Bami name Ravo. Shliach the shliach ki mashri shliach. When the shliach of a shliach makes the shliach the Bezdin or shaloi bebezdin, does he have to do it in Bezdin or not? Meaning, do you have to make sure that Bezdin's on top of the situation? Amru lahu v'tibay lahu. You should ask this. Right? Can he even make a shliach at all? This is the exact opposite of Gemara before. Amrulais, he said, that's not a question. The last shliach, the shliach mashri shliach, that a shliach does make a shliach. Right? What's the question? Our question was whether he can do it in Bezdin or not. Meaning not could. Does he have to make the shliach, the new shliach, in Bezdin or not? Don't ask. Yeah.
How are we medayik from Achron that it doesn't just mean the second one? How do we know that means that you can make multiple shluchim?
I think
maybe it just means the second one.
Isn't the taich of Achron last?
Yeah, there's two shliachs over here. How do we know that we're dealing with the first and the second? It should say shliach hasheni. What should it say?
You mean what? You mean what's the other option?
The Gemara is taking it as it's a double.
Let's say it would have said Eina Shliach. What is it? What about Eina Shliach?
We wouldn't know who you're talking about. We have to show you that we're talking about the second shliach.
Yeah.
Well, could say
I just didn't know why it was a double
or ein shliach hasheni. Achron always means more than two.
Is that
you don't
so?
say the last one. You never use the last whatever. the last hour, the last picture, the last what's it called? It's always more than two.
I hear.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm not sure. I would think that Ein shliach means the second. The shliach. Okay, I don't know. I hear. So, anyways, right? It says shliach. I'm a shliach bezdin. So that's not a question, right? So it means that it has to be a shliach that's in the bezdin. Fine. Omar Rabba shliach Eretz Yisrael oisa kama shluchim. Right? A shliach in Eretz Yisrael, right, can make many shluchim, meaning because there's no b'fanei nechtam, right? It's within Eretz Yisrael, so just one shliach can make another shliach. Or Rav Ashi, in Meis Rishon, if the first guy dies, then batlu kulon, right? An interesting chiddush. He says if the first shliach dies, then they're all batul, right? So Marmar bar Rav Ashi ha da'ava dekadnusi. When my father said this, he must have been young, right? Ilu Meis Baal Midi Meshashe Ispu. If the husband would have died, like we learned in yesterday's daf, if the husband would have died, is there anything to the Eidos here? Kula Mikoyach Man Kosu, who are they coming from? Whose Koyach are they coming from? Mikoyach the Baal Kosu, they're coming from the Koyach of the Baal. Isi Labal Isni Lukulu. If the Baal's alive, all the Shlichim are considered, one hands it over to the next, but it ultimately gets back to the owner, to the husband. Less Labal, less Nilukulu. But if there's no Baal, then all the Eidim, it's just a waste of time. Right, so meaning the shliach, one of the shluchim dying, shouldn't have any effect here on this, right? Fine. Hahu gavra, the shadul.
This is a ride that you could say, if Moshe was alive today, he would change his psak. Is that where that's the ride? Is that where they come from? Is that where you come from?
What? Well, because he said this only when he was young.
Was he chayzer on it? I'm saying, was he alive? Like if he was chayzer, he wouldn't have been chayzer, no?
Maybe he wasn't alive anymore, right? That's what
I'm saying.
saying.
So that vice does, he could.
You could say maybe. Yeah. Okay. I hear. Fine. Okay. So who Gavra? There was a man. The Shadale Gidele Devisu. He sent a get to his wife. Amar Shliach. The Shliach said, Lo Yadainala, it's very nice you want me to send the shliach to your wife. I don't know who she is. Go give it to Abba bar Menyume. He knows her. And you go and he should go and give it to her. So he came. He couldn't find Abba bar Menyume. So now he's really stuck. He doesn't know what the lady looks like, and he couldn't find Abba bar Menyume. So what's he doing with this get? That's a bezdin. Right? He saw all three of it. Yosef, Rav Safra, Gabai, and Rav Safra was also there. Amrulei, so they said to the shliach, Masar Milach Kamedi done, hand over your thing to us, right? Which is interesting that it's calling Milach, right? But it says hand it off, right? It means the get. Give it to us. And then when Abba Menyume comes, Nisvinele, we're going to give it to him, and then he's going to give it to her. Meaning Bezdin says, just give it to us, we'll take care of it. I mean, these three, they weren't a Bezdin, but they made a Bezdin. But that's a shliach who wasn't given to give the get. Right? Meaning, the Baal never told this shliach to give the get to somebody else. So how does he go give this get? Right? So Ichsufa, they got embarrassed. Rav Safra shlugged them up, meaning the Bezdin, the three of them said, do this. And then Rav Safra said, you can't do it. You weren't authorized to do this. Amar Rava, Kapchinu Rav Safra l'tasa Rabbanan Smuchi. Rav Safra, Kapchinu means to be mekapeach, is Rashi says he cut off his feet. Meaning he made it that they had nothing to stand on. I guess maybe that's where that comes from. Right? There's nothing to stand on. Yeah. So Rav Ashi, for my kapchinu, how did he cut them? How did he knock them off their feet? Did the husband say to give it to Abba bar Menyume and you yourself no? Right? he was the shliach first. When he said, I don't know who your wife looks like, he says, okay, to go to Abba and Yumi. Right? So Mamela, really the shliach does have the right to give it over to somebody else. Right? So Mamela, that's not him giving over the get to somebody who was once supposed to give it to.
See, would such a shlichus work where you say, I want you to give this get to him, and meaning you're not really giving over you're not giving him the koyach to actually give gerushin, you're just giving him the shlich, the ability to make somebody else a shliach without actually the koyach to actually be megarish. Wouldn't it be milila memser and a shliach at that point? If you don't give over, if I give somebody a shliach, but I only give him the ability to make somebody else a shliach, but I'm not giving the koyach to be megarish itself, which is what they're saying is happening here. Wouldn't that just be milila memser and a shliach? You're not giving the koyach. The idea behind being able to give somebody else a shliach is because you're giving them a koyach to be megarish. But if there's no koyach to be megarish, it's just mili at that point. No.
Well, maybe that's why Gemara use the lashon of mili.
No, but my point is that what was the hava mina? Then there wouldn't be any gerushin b'chlal. You could never. How would that even work? You couldn't do gerushin then,
right?
Because all you gave him was mili.
I hear. I'm not sure. You only gave me, yeah. If I understood the nuances better, then maybe I could. Okay, Ikadami. So some say the opposite. Omar Rava Kapchinu Rav Safar L'Tlaza Rabbanan Smuchi B'Teusa. When he cut off their feet their feet as a mistake, right? But Omar Ravashi says, "My Teusa. What was the mistake that he made? My Ka'omerle. What did the husband say to the shliach? Abba ben Yumi v'loy at? Did he say? No, I'm sorry, not as a question. Amar Rashi, my Tusa, my Ka'omerle, Abba ben Yumi v'loy at. What did he tell him? He said, Abba ben Yumi, and not you. Basically, according to this pshat in the Gemara, or this version of the Gemara, the shliach said, I don't know what your wife looks like. He said, give it to Abba ben Yumi. What he meant is okay. And Memela, no, nothing. You're out. The shliach is out. Right? The previous Gemara thought no, he didn't. He just gave it to the shliach and go give it to Abba ben Yumi, but not the other way around. Fine. Hahu kabra. The shadal lagidu l'devisu. A guy sent a get to his wife. Amalei l'shliach. He told the shliach like teisvin nahala atlas and yamin. Don't give her the get. 30 days. Isnis begav tlas and yamin. He became an einus in those 30 days, and he realized he's not going to be able to give the get after 30 days. It's also made the Rava. He came in front of Rava. Amar Rava. Chala time amai. Why is it that somebody who's a chayla is allowed to give over the get? Mishum da'anas, because he's an einus. Ha'nami anasu. This guy is also an einus. Right? So Mamela, since he's an einus, doesn't say he was sick, he just says he was an einus. Since he was an einus, he could give over the get to somebody else. So Amalei, Masar milach kami didon. Again, we're using the word milah. Right? Give it to us, the labasa tlas and yamin, mashvin and shliach. After 30 days, since you're an einus, you can't do it. After 30 days, we'll make we'll make a shliach v'yavel and then we'll give it to her. Yeah. So Amalei Rabbanan l'Ravas. I mean, again, they said to the shliach, give it to the bezin take care of it. Amalei Rabbanan l'Rava, but shliach shalei nidin l'gerish and the same time as before. This shliach, he didn't have the rights to do this, right? So how do you go tell the bezdin to go get another shliach? No. Here's a little different, because after 30 days, the shliach could, if he had the ability, give her the get. So k'shliach shadit and legerishin, who is like a shliach who was given to gerishin, and there meaning that he has the right to give over the gerishin, and therefore it's what do you call it? It's asa. Not asa. It's mutter for him to be the shliach. Okay, but right? So we had this a bunch of blot ago. So maybe during those, again, the guy gave a get to the shliach and said, bring it to the wife in 30 days. How do you know that during those 30 days, they didn't kiss and make up, literally? He was mafayasa. If a guy gives a get, and he says, this get is yours from now, if I don't come back for 12 months, and he dies in those Yud Beis Chodesh and raises a get. This is a get. Because the Lamaisi didn't come back from Yud Beis Chodesh. Avinu and Ba, and they were wondering, why don't we be chayshe that maybe during that year the couple was together again, and that nullifies the get, as we know. When a couple goes back together again, it knocks out the get. This is what Abamari said in the Rav. What he said, he's believed, meaning this one I don't understand. He says, she's believed to me that I didn't sleep with her, right? Or I didn't come to her, right? Meaning, so in a regular case, with Taka not going to trust, if it's within 12 months, if he doesn't come back within 12 months, we're not going to trust that maybe they were together, right? We're not going to trust that. So then, but only time we're going to trust it is if he says to the Bezdin, if I come back and I say that I came and I was with my wife and she denies it, believe her, right? I don't understand that, but okay, I just, right? But whatever, so the Gemara is asking, so how do you know when there's this amount of time that he wasn't Mefayim, right? So Gemara says, Ichsif, so Rava was embarrassed because he didn't know. How was he being mocked to this get? How do you know that they weren't together? In the end, it was revealed, Tarusa Hava, she was only engaged. So since she was only engaged, there's no chashash of piyas, because piyas is only if they were married together. And then they may have got back. But when they're engaged, it doesn't apply. Amar Rava, if you're going to say this chashash when they were married, that maybe they went back together again, you're going to say when they were engaged? No, you're not. So therefore, Rava was saved. Siyata Deshmaya, Rava's psak. Rava said a psak, that the get is a good get. They asked the kasha on him. How do you know? Rabbi Ravuna asked that Abamari said that maybe she was Matthias. Maybe, well, that wasn't exactly what he said, but meaning maybe, how do you know that they didn't get back together in those 30 days? So Rava was embarrassed. Then it came out that they were only engaged. Rava says, Baruch Hashem, my psak was the right psak. What is Siyata Deshmaya?
What about
right?
in Yehuda?
What about what? In Yehuda? Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Amakiva is asking in Yehuda, they were chayshed that the couples when they were engaged were together, right? So
that's only b'shas Mishna Rishayim. This is Bizman Amiroin. That didn't happen Bizman Amiroin.
Yeah, so maybe.
I'm just asking Stam for your side. If the Yehuda at that time, would you say she's a svara?
Right.
I'm not saying in Rava's case. In Rava's case, it worked out. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Okay, so let's do a few more lines to the two dots. This for sure we have a shayla. On Tamar Aleph. Now, kimashu bezdin shliach b'fanav or shaloi b'fanav. When the bezdin makes a shliach, does it have to be in front of the original shliach or not? Hadar pashta. So then the Rava went and answered it. Bein b'fanav, bein shaloi b'fanav. You can make the shliach whether the first shliach was there or he wasn't there. So, and the Shulchan Mitaman, they sent from over there, from Eretz Yisrael, they said that Bein B'fanav, Bein Shaloi B'fanav, the Bezdin could make an shliach, another one shliach to another shliach, whether it's B'fanav, whether it's Shaloi B'fanav. Okay, we'll stop over there.
Oh, yeah.
All right. The island should have themselves a good night. Zev, are they still on, Zev?
Have a good night, Sviako.
Have a good night. Yeah, good to know. You also made it home,
yeah.
All these reasons, get home. All right, I'm going to run into this wedding here. Fine. Thank you.
Thank you.